Oh, just some scary movie.
Like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Look at me, Damien. It's all for you.
Kill her, Mommy. Kill her.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
This is my boomstick. Here's Johnny.
I have to return some videotapes.
We'll tear your soul apart.
Hello and welcome to All Things Horror. My name is Ben and I'm joined here with Matt. If you're unfamiliar with the show, each week we choose a movie to break down and review. We give our honest opinions and rate it from 1 to 10. This week we're going to be talking about The Fly 2 from 1989. But before we do, let's take a quick look at the trailer.
Listen. Do you hear it? It's getting closer. Much closer. Don't be afraid. Be very, very afraid.
You could finish your father's work. You're as brilliant as he was.
Something odd is happening to me, and I don't know what it is.
It's getting worse.
I'm getting better.
The Fly 2. Like father, like son.
Okay, so the almost human son of Brundlefly searches for a cure to his mutated genes whilst being monitored by a nefarious corporation that wishes to continue his father's experiments. Directed by Chris Wallace, and the main cast is Eric Stoltz, Daphne, Zuniga, Lee Richardson, John Getz, and Harley Cross, with a total runtime of 1 hour and 45 minutes. We almost didn't do this one because it seems it's really hard to get a hold of unless you buy the box set, which I didn't really want to do. But it's not streaming anywhere. It seems kind of unavailable to rent or buy, and even just the Fly 2 DVDs seem to just be like American copies. So I had to buy the box set. I think you did the same. Did you?
Yeah, with the Vincent Price ones on as well. Yeah, okay. So it's like, I thought, well, I might as well just buy all. I think it's 5.
Oh right, okay. I just got 1 and 2 in mine.
Yeah, because Vincent Price is like one of my favourite actors, and I was like, I don't own those. Quite a lot of his films, but not those. So I was like, right, okay, I'll do that. So now I have all the Flies.
So is that like
Flies?
What is that, like 3 original like Vincent Price type ones, and then this 1 and 2?
Yeah.
I'm not too familiar with the older ones.
Yeah, they're it's been ages since I watched them, so I'm probably going to have to watch them all again now. But they're good. They're a bit more gentle. Let's say that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think I've seen the very first one, the original. But is the other ones like the Return of the Fly? Is that the other one, or?
Yes.
Something like
Do you know
that.
what? Hang on. I'll go and get it. So we've got The Fly, The Fly 2, The Fly original version from 1958, Return of the Fly, and The Curse of the Fly.
Oh. Okay.
So yeah, it's they're very different films. I think I heard them say, I think we said on the first episode that Vincent Price and the original director were a bit not perturbed, but a little bit disparaging of David Cronenberg's approach.
Yeah,
I suppose it's how much you throw on the screen and how much you kind of do through suspense, and I think that's just probably like a generational change. But also, I'd imagine even people at the time, even people now, would find some of David Cronenberg's work shocking. Most of his work shocking, because that's kind of how he works. It's the ultimate in body horror, most of his things. So but no, at least now I've got the box set. I can work my way through them all.
Yeah,
and see if I can rank them 1 to 5.
Like you said, The Fly was our very first episode, wasn't it?
Oh yeah,
that was our first one. So it's only fitting that we do The Fly 2 as our first episode of Sequel September.
Yeah, it's gone really quick. I didn't realise.
Yeah,
that's probably why I couldn't quite remember some of the things we'd said about it.
Yeah, David Cronenberg did this one, but yeah, Chris Wallace. He's not a director I've come across, and I think there's only like 2 mentions for his directing.
So he did do 2 more after this. I think Tales from the Crypt and something else. I think A Tales from the Crypt, not the Tales from the Crypt film.
Yeah. The Vagrant, was that the other one?
Yeah, 92. He's carried on with his... He did carry on. I mean, I think he's in his 70s now, or certainly close to 70. He's carried on doing the special effects right up until 2002. Makeup effects, he did the film Jade. I don't know if you've ever seen Jade, which is like kind of like one of the follow-ups to Basic Instinct. So it's kind of like an erotic thriller. It's like pretty much one of these films that people say is one of the worst ever made. But yeah, he carried on doing special effects for a few films. He did Arachnophobia, the special effects for that. But if you go back, like the things he did, some of my favorite films, like he started on Piranha, which I've not seen for ages. Humanoids from the Deep is good, but then he did the special projects. He probably did some of the physical gags from Airplane, which is probably one of my favorite films of all time. E.T., Model Maker, Gremlins. He created Gremlins, which is insane. Which is insane. How good is that? He created the Gremlins. Obviously, The Fly, the first Fly. So all you need to know, I suppose, about this guy is he is a special effects genius, creative effects genius. So that's what you're going to get with this film.
Yeah.
You know, kind of think of that squished Gremlins. That's kind of this film, isn't it?
Yeah, I see that, the Gremlins. And I think he actually turned down doing Gremlins 2 so that he could do this film. Would you think that was a bad idea? Or
I think it might have been a bad move, but then again, he has probably got more creative control over this. I'd imagine he's kind of... It's all special effects. 99% of the film is special effects and opportunities of showing those off. So it's a great calling card in that sense. We'll get into how I feel about some of them later. But yeah, he is somebody, maybe of an unsung hero, because it's not like a name you hear a lot. No. But when he did the face melting Nazi in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
So, and Return of the Jedi special effect. Like the guy is, I don't understand why we're not hearing his name kind of bandied around with like Tom Savini and people like that. Maybe he's just a quiet guy. Maybe it's a little bit of like, or a little bit of a lack of self promotion.
I guess he hasn't really done many horror films, has he? He's done a lot of very good visual effects, like you say, the face melting in Indiana Jones. But as far as horror goes, I guess probably Piranha.
Yeah, and that's Joe Dante, isn't it? And then obviously he's gone and worked with Joe Dante again with Gremlins.
Gremlins, yeah.
So it's probably just in with that group of filmmakers around that time. Obviously, it's worked with Spielberg. Yeah, he's done it all, really. I mean, like we say, it's a bit of a strange one that he's not.
Have you seen this one before? The Fly 2?
I don't think I had. No, I thought I had until I because I would have remembered. To be honest, there's parts of it that I definitely would have remembered.
So this is a first viewing for you.
Yeah, it might be the last as well.
Oh.
I appreciate the special effects of this film. I think they're brilliant. I think Eric Stoltz is really good in it. I always like Eric Stoltz to do well, just because he was like, 1 minute he's Marty McFly, they're filming Back to the Future, and then they take him out of the film and bring in Michael J. Fox. It's like he was that close to being in like an all-time classic film. He's good in this. Daphne Zuniga, I think, is very good in it as well. Obviously, I remember her from Spaceballs. She's Princess Vesper in Spaceballs. We get to see John Getz being a dick again, which is he plays it really well, and in a short space of time, he's probably one of the most entertaining characters again.
Yeah, he only really is in just that one scene. I suppose a little bit in the beginning, but yeah, I guess he's only got about 5 minutes, and he's the only person that's come back to replay his role from the original.
Stathis is a really good character, like really interesting character. I think
he's good, hateable, but good.
Yeah, really hateable in a kind of comically pantomime villain kind of way. Because even when he stops you feeling sorry for him, even when you probably could. So yeah, it's like I think the screenplay for this was Mick Garris, who Critters writer and Hocus Pocus, and again another person who's very popular in horror circles. And Frank Darabont wrote the screenplay who did what's it called, The Picture of the Woman, the Shawshank Redemption, and also as showrunner for the first season of The Walking Dead. So the absolute pedigree of this film is out of this world, isn't it?
Yeah.
So really, it should have been. And then the director, with his knowledge of special effects, it should have been an absolute massive hit.
Yeah. I don't really understand why it's not. I mean, we'll get into it later. It's very.
I have an idea, but I'm not sure whether it's just my own preference.
Yeah.
rather than what other people might like. I don't know.
Even the production company, Brooks Films, I've not heard of that. I mean, they did the first one and Spaceballs, but other than that, I don't really know anything else from what they've done. Yeah,
Mel Brooks has mainly his own films, so I think everything that Brooks Films has done is essentially a Mel Brooks film. So Robin Hood Men in Tights, Dracula Dead and Loving It, The Producers remake, not the original producers. I don't think he had his own production company then. Solar Babies, again, which is a mad film. And then the last one I saw that they did one in 2022, Paws of Fury, which is a computer-animated action comedy that made $42 million. But I've never heard of that until now.
No.
Oh, Michael Cera, Ricky Gervais are in it. Mel Brooks, of course. Yeah, I've never heard of that. I'm not big on my kids' animated films, but Paws of Fury, The Legend of Hank. So yeah, no, it's not like a horror. I think the only two horror films that Brooks Films have had anything to do with are The Fly and Fly 2.
Yeah.
Well, Dracula Dead and Loving It with Leslie Nielsen, which ties into our Creepshow episode.
Yeah. I should have got the budget up for the first film, but this one was 6.7, and then it earned a total of almost 39 mil in the box office.
So it's made a profit. It's not, I don't know, I mean,
I suppose it had the hype of the first one.
Yeah, the first one had a bigger budget. I've just had a quick look, and it says between 9 and 15 million.
Oh, okay, so it had a smaller budget.
Two different sources, but made 60 million, so obviously it was more successful financially. Maybe because of the big star in it, or bigger name actors in it. I don't know. I'm not sure. It's a strange thing to work out why this hasn't been a huge hit. I suppose for me, it's more the dog. Like, dogs are such pure people, pure creatures. They just have full of love. So to see like a dog suffering in the film quite a lot, spoiler, is like it's like a real turn off for me. So as much as I liked everything in it, like I didn't want to see that, and I don't know. I mean, I guess Marley and Me was huge, wasn't it? So people do love dogs, but then again, I wouldn't watch that because I know it's sad. So,
yeah, I know. We've mentioned
I
this a few times, haven't we? There's been quite a few films that we've had where there's been dog scenes that aren't great, but
oh man, yeah, this is the worst. For that.
I did make a note a couple of times throughout the plot.
It's hard. It's really hard to watch in places because there's just moments where you feel for that poor dog. So yeah, it's I don't know, maybe because they've amped up the goo. It is a lot more gooey than the first film.
Yeah.
Maybe just it doesn't get that mainstream audience. Maybe it's as simple as that. I did appreciate anything other than the dog. Everything else I thought was brilliant. I wasn't even that bothered about the cat. It's terrible. But
yeah. I think there was a few people that was going to go up for the role of Martin Brundle. Keanu Reeves being one of them. He was offered it, but he turned it down because he didn't like the script. And the other one was Josh Brolin.
Okay, he'd have been good.
He would have been good, but yeah, apparently he failed the audition for the role.
Oh, well, I mean, I was just imagining like Eric Stoltz just looking over his shoulder in case Michael J. Fox wanted to do the film. And just be like, I'll do it. But Michael J. Fox isn't in for this, is he?
Whilst I was watching, I didn't check who did the score for this as I was watching it, and then all throughout, when you get that heavy kind of creepy orchestral vibes, I was thinking, oh, this is very kind of Hellraiser-y. And then I looked, and it's Christopher Young. He did it, and he also did Hellraiser, so that makes sense.
Oh. Again, I was thinking, like, it's got that same sort of Hitchcockian feel to it. The first one, it's kind of like quite orchestral, like you say, instrumental, musical cues. That very similar to the first. Which works because it's trying. I think that's also referencing the fact that these are classic, come from classic films, from the 50s. Yeah, and it kind of ties in quite nicely. What did you think about the Eric Stoltz and Daphne Zuniga? Do you think they had as much chemistry or worked as well together as the first two, in Geena Davis and Jeff Goldblum?
I think they were good. I really liked Eric Stoltz as Martin Brundle. Daphne, she was good, but there were definitely some scenes where I didn't think it was as believable as Geena Davis and her character.
It's probably written a bit better, I think, Geena Davis's character, to have a little bit more agency over what she was doing, and her, having a little bit more strength of character. This character, like you said, I think their chemistry was good, and I think she did well with it, but maybe, it was a little bit lacking because it's maybe a little bit underwritten, her character. She just kind of appears. She's just kind of love interest at the beginning, and you do get to know her a bit more and get to hear a bit more and see her personality. Yeah, and it is quite touching, some of the things, some of the interplay between them, but it's not as well written as Geena Davis's character.
Yeah, not really. It kind of felt like, we need a female role. Oh, let's put this girl here. She can, be an interest.
He needs to have that. Yeah,
it could have been built a bit better, I think.
Yeah, as well, especially with him being kind of isolated a lot of the film and being kind of like he's almost like he's grown in a greenhouse, isn't it? He's a very, very isolated character. So for me, it reminded me a bit of Flight of the Navigator, where David's kind of inside the NASA building and he kind of builds a little relationship with Sarah Jessica Parker's character. It kind of, probably not as good chemistry as that, but obviously that I think he's a tiny little boy and she's quite old. But they had a nice kind of banter. This felt a little bit rushed, but once they got together, I thought it was nice. A nice kind of chemistry between them. Yeah. That you believe that they were kind of had an attraction and care for each other. But again, I think everything is kind of secondary to the special effects in this film.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't really have a problem with the overall acting of everyone.
No.
but you could kind of figure out who was who and what was going to happen from the get-go. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. No, I would agree.
Yeah, like you're introduced to all these characters and you already kind of know what's going to be coming your way.
Yeah, I mean, the only exciting part for me was, like, obviously, right at the beginning, Geena Davis has that baby, and it's like straight into it. That's quite thrilling. That's very much at the David Cronenberg playbook of, like, do something horrific early on and get everybody staring at the screen and kind of what's going to happen next. So that's, like, for me, the only problem with that is it then has to live up to that. And like you say, story-wise, I'm not 100% sure if they knew where they were going with that.
Because they did try and I think I've got it in my trivia anyway, but obviously that wasn't actually Geena Davis. They got I forgot her name. Someone Saffron, I don't know, but they got a person to fill in as Veronica.
Oh, okay.
So that
so they get rid of her character rather than get rid of Geena Davis.
Yeah.
Did she even want to come back?
Yeah. Yeah. But that first birth scene, and throughout the film, I think you see little clips, but that's someone else.
Yeah. Oh, Saffron Henderson.
That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, I've not heard of her, but she did a good job. I believed it.
Yeah.
I believed it was Geena Davis. I didn't know that, to be honest. She's in Friday the 13th.
Oh, was she?
Part Jason Takes Manhattan.
Oh.
Yeah.
That would have been around the same time, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think it was. I think it would have been...
What's this, 89?
1989, yeah, both in 1989. Oh, wow. So she had an interesting year.
Yeah. Both sequels as well.
Yeah, being chased by Jason, probably, and then giving birth to a fly.
Wow. I think that's it, really, for everything I've got so far. I mean, it's got a 71 critics rating on Rotten Tomatoes, which isn't bad.
That's it. No, yeah. that's pretty good. Like we said, I think there is a few story issues, especially for a 1 hour 45 film. Maybe editing, I don't know. But yeah, that's really good, because I think on IMDb it's like 5.1. Oh,
okay.
So, yeah, it's quite low, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's better. I think it's probably better than that. Just in terms of creativity and, other films you would compare it to that are 5.1. This is why aggregating and scores and things don't really work.
Yeah, yeah. All right, cool. Did you want to move on?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's get into the film.
Head into the spoilers.
Spoiler warning.
Right, okay, so the movie starts off several months after the events of The Fly. So Veronica Quaife, or Quaife? Quaife.
I think she'd probably prefer the first one.
Quaife.
I didn't even know that was a surname. Quaife. Wow.
I'll stick with Quaife, I think.
Yeah, I would too. If that was my name, I would too.
Or I'll just call her Veronica. So Veronica gives birth to a larval sac, and then she dies. The sac splits open to reveal a seemingly normal baby boy.
Oh.
Yeah, and then it goes to the opening credits. What do you make of those? This first bit of her giving birth is very much.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah. Because that was like one of the most shocking things you got from the first film, like her giving birth to the big maggot.
That's the part I remember. One of the parts I remember the most, and I think if you watch that, you're remembering that and thinking that might happen again in real life this time, which would be actually quite an interesting way of doing it. I'm sure they thought of doing that, and it's again, like I said before, it's straight out of the Cronenberg playbook, isn't it? It's like, that's really gross people out early on, get people's attention, keep their eyeballs on the screen, and like. Yeah, this is all inside Bartok Industries, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, and he seems fine. The baby seems fine. It's a big gooey sack. Oh, I hate that word. Sack, SAC, sack. That sounds disgusting. But yeah, I liked it. What do you think about this? Do you think it was the best way to open the film?
It was, yeah. They started off quite hot and heavy, didn't they? And then they
Gooey.
Yeah, very gooey. And then they open up the sack, and then there's a little baby boy.
Yeah. Lovely.
To wipe him down a bit. But yeah.
Can you imagine it? There'd be a lot less children in the world if that was the way that everybody gave birth.
Ugh.
They'd be like, this is gross, I'm not doing that. Yeah. Don't want to do it.
Those the opening credits, you see it was a lot of like green flashes of light. I found apparently those, like that opening credit scene, that was actually borrowed from the alternative opening scene for the original Fly.
Oh, okay. Recycling.
Yeah.
There's a few bits of recycling in this film, though.
There is, yeah.
Yeah, and the fact they couldn't get Geena Davis, they were just like, right, we're going to have to kill her off really soon, and then move on. But then, like, keep like you say, little flashbacks and things.
Yeah.
They have to watching his dad later on. I suppose they have to do that. They have to reference it. It was a very successful film, wasn't it? So
it was a clever way that they did it as well.
Yeah,
he's kind of learning from his dad through the videos that they made in the first film. Like he's watching the old tapes.
A lot of it was quite well thought out. I think they just hadn't decided on what they were going to do once he learns all these things. Do you know, like, without just doing the same thing again? Because really, when you're transferring things from one place to another, and that's your kind of thing, and then one person gets mixed up in it, there's not a lot of directions to go in, is there?
Yeah, that was my worry. I was worried that they were just going to do the exact same thing again, but with his son, you know. But yeah. So the owner, Anton Bartok, the owner of the company that financed Seth Brundle's teleportation experiments, adopts the child and names him Martin. Martin grows up in a clinical environment. His physical and mental maturity is highly accelerated, and he possesses a genius-level intellect, incredible reflexes, and no need for sleep. He knows he is aging faster than a normal human, but is unaware of the true cause, having been told that his father died from the same rapid aging disease. Yeah, that was weird, wasn't it? What did you make of the whole aging process of him? Like, what was he, like, 10, who's actually 3? Like,
well, when he's very little, or sort of in his teens, it reminded me a bit of, like, 11 in the lab in Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Like, kind of being observed through... I think it's really creepy when people are observing someone through, like, that kind of glass, you know, like in a police station where they're interviewing somebody in, like, a cop show. And they don't know you behind the glass. I think there's something creepy about having like a child in that situation and kind of being brought up in this sort of fake environment. But the actual special effects, the aging special effects, again, they don't waste any opportunity to do something creative and, I don't know if gross is the word, but yeah, like certainly creative.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a bit weird. I don't know whether that, well... I'm not sure if it accounts for anything the way flies live, because they only live for 15 days. I'm not sure if they're trying to do something there.
I imagine that's,
with the aging process.
That sounds exactly right, yeah. In which case, he should just, like, pop off before the film's even over.
Yeah.
unless those are... Well, it doesn't all happen in one day, or... Because in the first Fly, everything kind of happens very close together. In this one, he has to get to know the girl... He's growing up. Like it covers probably a larger space of time or a longer space of time. So it'd be really interesting if the exact amount of days that the film is supposed to be in was exactly the same amount of time as a fly's lifespan. That'd be really clever. But I don't know if that's the case. I doubt it.
Would they call it Brundle's accelerated growth syndrome? I think they called it.
All right. Oh, well. Brundle's accelerated growth syndrome. I'm trying to work out if the letters spell anything, but no. Segs. No, bags.
No, bags.
Oh yeah, bag, not B. Bags. Yeah, bags.
Bags.
Save money for bags.
So, at age 3, Martin has the physique of a 10-year-old and frequently sneaks around and explores the Bartok complex. He finds a room containing lab animals and befriends a dog. The next night, he brings it food but finds it missing. He enters an observation booth overlooking Bay 17. There, the scientists have reassembled Brundle's telepods but have been unable to duplicate the programming that enables them to teleport living subjects. So this is...
They've moved on. Technology's moved on a bit. They've not got the green screen anymore. They've moved on from green screen BBC computers, micros, but they still can't do anything. They still can't get things to work because it all comes down to the genius of Seth, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, genius of a guy who messed it up, but yeah.
Yeah. So we see the telepods here for the first time. I think I remember this right, but in the first one of the telepods obviously got destroyed because the Brundlefly fused himself with it when he opened the door and it was starting. But I seem to remember there being a third one in that little lab apartment he had. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he said that one was a prototype. And I think that's probably the one that they've got here because I seem to remember that other one not having like a clear door on it. Like the two from the first one, they have both clear fronted doors. But the prototype, I think, just had like a steel door. And I think in this one, it had a steel door. So they've probably taken the one that's not all messed up and tried to do something with those two pods, and that's probably why they're not working. I don't know.
So there's a lot of continuity then to kind of think that through. They needed somebody like you there explaining that to them why they had to do that.
But surely they need his computer more than the pods, because that's where it all lies, isn't it?
Study his videos, study the computer, download it if they can. I don't know. Maybe it's just such antiquated piece of kit that they. I don't know.
But Staffis did blast it with a shotgun, though, didn't he? So
yeah, that's true.
That couldn't.
And I bet the hard drive. I bet it went through that. It's not like it's like now where it's on like a little card or a little chip. It'd be like a massive, big steam-powered thing that he just shot a bullet right through it.
Yeah. So they attempt to teleport a dog, but it fails and leaves it horribly deformed. It injures one of the scientists, horrifying Martin as he's overlooking it. 2 years later, Martin's body has matured that of a 25-year-old. On his 5th birthday, Bartok presents Martin with a bungalow on the Bartok facility's property and offers Martin the job of repairing his father's telepods.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Two things.
Yeah.
He's 5.
So
maybe later on with Beth, this is not a good relationship to get into from Beth's point of view if she wants to stay out of prison. Which I hadn't thought of at the time.
Yeah, that'd be
only
weird.
Now when you said that, when I saw it on the notes, and I was like, he's 5.
Yeah.
And the other one is, as soon as the dog gets horribly deformed, I'm out. I'm done. I'm done with the film. I'm like, this is too sad. He's got a really lovely relationship with this dog. The dog is a little pure, gentle, soft thing. Shouldn't be in a fucking lab in the first place. Fuck Bartok Industries. So, like, yeah. Let's focus on them doing horrible things to people. No. Particularly the guy later on. What's he called? The pervy guard.
Oh, the security guy.
Yeah, he's like proper pervy. Why not have more horrible things? I know some horrible things happen to him, but like, let's just focus all our attention on him and leave the dog alone.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got in my notes as well. It's so fucking weird that a fully 25-year-old grown man is actually 5 years old.
It's like, and his sort of sensibilities and personality is supposed to develop at the same rate. So that's like to get us out of that hole, that he's not just like, I want to go here and like that, because otherwise then he wouldn't be able to have a relationship with that woman, would he? If she was like, hi, nice to meet you, and he was like, I like jelly babies. Do you like jelly babies?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So everything has to increase, because how does his like mind and experience level and the way he talks and acts also develop at the same rate? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
But we can't just have him toddling around, can we?
He does keep him to himself for a while, though, doesn't he? Like, for the reason why he's there. He's like, oh yeah, I don't get out much, kind of thing. Was like, yeah, there's a reason.
I'm 5.
Legally,
I'm 5. Don't touch me.
So this is where we first see Eric Stoltz. I think I've only ever seen a couple of his films. Anaconda. I know he's in Anaconda. But also I forgot he was in Pulp Fiction.
But forgotten he was in Pulp Fiction, sadly. He's not the most memorable.
Do you remember which one he is? He's the drug dealer, the hippie guy with the really long hair.
Yeah. He's the character that would probably be played by Brad Pitt in He's also Rocky Dennis. I don't know if you've ever seen the film Mask. He plays a real. It's like a true story. With a big. I was going to say with a big face, which is a terrible thing to describe, but with a big face. He's had a really good career. I mean, the guy's been in like 200 and odd things.
Oh wow!
Real range of stuff. Like, obviously, he would have I think he'd have had a very different career if he was Marty McFly. But then would we still love Back to the Future if it wasn't Michael J. Fox? He's had parts in things that people forget. Like, I'd totally forgotten that he was in Pulp Fiction until you said it then. He's in Roger Avary's Killing Zoe, which is kind of like the year before, I think. Yeah, the year before Pulp Fiction, and kind of very Tarantino-esque. He's the guy that does that does a lot, that works a lot with Tarantino. He was in Say Anything, the John Cusack film. He's been in some Kind of Wonderful, John Hughes, which is probably one of the least popular John Hughes teen movies. It's not a bad film though. And I suppose you do see, I think the back of his head in Back to the Future, so he's in that. We'll say he's in that.
Yeah,
he's uncredited, but I think parts of it he has actually used. Like, they've used bits that they filmed with him.
Yeah, I didn't even know that until I started looking at this one.
Yeah, it's sad really for him.
So they actually filmed quite a bit of it.
Yeah, and literally had to tell him it wasn't working out. So it's on the DVD. It's on the special edition. It's on nearly all of the anything with any extra content related to Back to the Future. There's loads of things where you can watch scenes with Eric Stoltz playing the character, and it's kind of weird to watch.
Yeah, that is weird. Yeah. I see some pictures afterwards. I was like, really? But I can't even imagine it.
No. He's not bad. Like, in the bits I've seen, he's not bad. He's just not Marty McFly.
No.
It's been proved to be a correct decision, I guess. But
yeah, I guess so. No, sucks for him though.
But it's all right. He got to be Martin Brundle. Iconic Martin Brundle character.
Okay, so when Martin is uneasy about the proposition, Bartok shows him Veronica's videotapes that she documented Seth Brundle's progress with the telepods. Seeing how his father described how the telepods ostensibly improved and energized his body, Martin accepts Bartok's proposal.
Can they get married? No.
Yeah, we keep seeing Martin get those injections, and the woman that's doing it is like overly mean. Like, she's really really going to town on it. But
no one likes him there. No one likes him because they think he's like the boss's kid.
Yeah,
like, that's kind of because Bartok is such a horrible person.
Yeah.
He's getting sort of the byproduct of that is his son, his kid, is getting everybody hates him too.
But he doesn't seem like the typical bad guy at first, though, does he?
No,
he seems quite nice.
He's a bit,
he's not
like
going to
that
be because he is that guy. But anyone that owns a company,
bond, isn't it, that he's trying to build? Maybe he's sort of. We know that his intentions aren't honourable, even though he is being on the surface nice. What are the reasons behind that?
Yeah.
Like, it's that kind of thing. It's like, yeah, he seems like he's looking after him and doing this, but he's essentially, it's a bit, again, it goes back to like that kind of, I don't know if it's a bit of a trope really, but I can think of Stranger Things, where Eleven has that relationship with the doctor who brought her up, but then you kind of question why. And why did he treat her that way? Because he was using her as a weapon and he was just kind of controlling her.
Yeah.
This is kind of the same sort of thing, really.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just a strange one because, like, maybe the other people working there like Bartok. I don't know. Maybe I'm pushing that on him that he's a horrible, terrible, obviously bad character. Maybe he's really nice to his employees. I don't know. I'd imagine not. They just seem to dislike him because he's like the rich guy, maybe the rich guy's son.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, you're right. She quite likes jabbing him.
Well, that's like what I said earlier. When you meet these characters, you kind of know their fate straight away off the bat. And I was like, that's definitely with this one. Like, she's so mean and she's just jabbing that needle in his arm and just blaming him for moving, like, even though he isn't really like fidgeting that much. I mean, he's a kid, and she's just full on shouting at him. And I was like, all right, rein it in a bit.
Yeah, come on, he's 5.
You're probably going to die later.
Give him. Yeah, you're going to die. Yeah. You're going to regret that.
Yeah.
Oh my word. Yeah, I'm just thinking about what comes next. I don't know if I want to say or talk about it. So yeah,
do you want to hold your ears?
Let's get it out of the way.
So, as he works on the telepods, Martin befriends an employee, Beth Logan. Beth invites Martin to a party at the specimens division, where he learns that the mutated dog is still kept alive and studied on.
Fuck's sake.
Thinking Beth is aware of the dog's imprisonment, Martin argues with her and leaves the party, goes to the animal's holding pen. The deformed dog is in terrible pain, still remembers Martin, and he tearfully euthanizes it with chloroform.
Oh, jeez. Oh, my word. This is horrendous. And why would you go to a party at the specimens division?
Yeah.
Why would you have a party there anyway? Oh, we've got this deformed dog that's like in real pain and hating its life. Do you want to come for a party? We've got some nibbles. We've got some quavers. Like, what are we talking about?
And what even is that? It's like a viewing tower. He's like, here, look at this.
Yeah. It reminds me of something out of like Star Wars or something, just kind of like releasing a thing into a pit, like the Sarlacc pit or something.
And they're just giving it slaps.
Yeah, they're not even... Oh, man. And poor old Martin, like, does the right thing, but it's just really hard. I just skipped past this. I could see what was going to happen, and I was just like, no.
Yeah.
No. It's too sad. And then they get the kitten out later on, and I'm like, oh, here we go again. What is it with this film? That's science, I guess. That's how they do. Oh, they did. Hopefully they don't do things like that as much now. I don't know how it works. But there was a big thing during the 80s of loads of films where there was tons of kind of animals being tested on and being released or somebody developing an attachment for it. I think there was a big anti-testing makeup on animals thing in the mid to late 80s, I seem to remember.
Oh, okay.
Like a massive like TV thing, or, like I think they maybe showed like rabbits with makeup on and saying like, to kind of show what, I don't know why, it's in a kind of scary way. Like it was the era of like big scary adverts to tell you what, like the big scary AIDS advert and all that kind of stuff. And I remember a big scary advert about animal testing, so it kind of ties in with what's going on in all these films. But I'm glad we're out of that sort of weird period of time where nearly every other film is about animal testing.
Yeah. Okay, right. On a more cheery note.
Oh, please. God, please.
So, like, he goes and shows Beth the telepods, and he's so kind of jazzed to show her, oh, look, because I think he'd already done it with a phone, didn't he? But he gets her cactus, and he seems so... He's like, oh, watch this. And then, obviously, it doesn't work the way he thought, and it kind of, like, deforms the cactus. She seemed so kind of unimpressed that the telepods actually worked. She was more like, yeah, what you done to my cactus?
Yeah, you bastard. Yeah. She's fine to work in a place where she sees deformed dogs every day.
Yeah.
But don't mess with the cactus. That's,
Yeah.
really, really terrible.
It was like, okay, forget what the cactus looks like, but it did telepod, It was like, I know, but...
Yeah, you do that. Yeah, if you...
Stop messing up my plants.
Exactly. He has little tantrums, doesn't he? He has little tantrums because he's 5, I suppose. Little sulks.
I think we've already started seeing the footage of Martin watching the videos of his dad, Seth Brundle. So I thought that was a really good touch that they did in this film, because that's what most of the first one was about. Veronica documenting everything that Seth's doing, Seth's talking to the cameras, and now here Martin is learning from his dad from those exact tapes. I thought it was cool that they actually used those tapes.
Yeah, it's a good way of doing it. It ties in story-wise. I think you're always in danger of reminding people that the other film's better. That's the only problem.
Yeah.
Like, to remember this film? Oh, yeah, maybe I should go and watch it.
Yeah.
But I know it does make sense story-wise, and it is very well done. I agree with that. And people just like, oh, it's a shame Jeff Goldblum's not in this film.
Okay, so Martin reconciles with Beth and arrives at his father's revelation and reveals that the telepod's computer needs to analyze living flesh. Martin shows Beth his perfected telepods by teleporting a kitten without harm.
Hooray.
They become lovers, but Martin shows signs of his eventual mutation into a human-fly hybrid. Martin devises a potential cure for his condition, which involves swapping out his mutated genes for healthy human genes. Martin shelves this idea, though, when he realizes the other person would be subject to a grotesque genetic disfigurement.
Yeah. Let's put that to one side then. I know I can do it, but let's just put that to one side.
Yeah.
I won't think about it, or nothing will happen about this thing that I've just worked out. We'll just forget all about it, everybody. Say what that full stop's doing. A lot of work there where it's like teleported a kitten without harm, they become lovers. I was like, oh, who becomes the kitten? Like Martin and the kitten become lovers. But yeah, Beth. Okay, yeah. That's quite a raunchy scene. Yeah, it certainly was for the people watching them.
Yeah, in his brand new
weirdos.
apartment.
He's got like a little sort of Playboy's flat, really, hasn't he? Like apartment, like single guy's apartment.
Bachelor pad.
Yeah, bachelor pad. That's the one. Like he's kind of like Kirk Van Houten,
Yeah.
He's like Milhouse's dad, Is it Milhouse that has a car bed, or his dad? I can't remember.
Oh yeah,
like a racing car bed. I feel like Martin should have a racing car bed.
Yeah. What do you think of the? I know we mentioned this in the first one, but the visual effects of the computers that they're using, like the simulations that they've got on the computers.
Well, like we said before, they've made a step up, haven't they?
Yeah.
Not a massive one, but yeah. It's like the step from... this is going to really age myself, but we used BBC micros when I was at school, when I first started secondary school. And then they decided they were going to get rid of them. And by my second year, they got Acorn Archimedes computers. which is essentially exactly the same thing, but like there was a few colours on there, and the monitor was separate from the keyboard, whereas with the micro everything's sort of built in.
Oh, okay.
This is that same kind of step, I think. Just from a BBC micro to an Acorn Archimedes. Does exactly the same job. Oh no, has a did this have a mouse? I can't remember. Archimedes had a mouse just with one button on it, but
I found it quite funny, like the screen where they had like two green outlines of people, and like he does the whole gene swapping thing, and then everything's good, he gets new genes, and then you see the picture of the other guy, and he just kind of gloops into a blob, like actually on the picture he just goes wow wow wow.
Yeah, it's like a game, like a computer game.
Game over.
Yeah, it's like what do you call it, Pac-Man or something. It's like boop, 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 boop.
So eventually Martin learns that Bartok has hidden cameras in his bungalow, or bachelor pad. Martin breaks into Bartok's records room, where he learns of his father's true fate. Bartok confronts Martin and explains that he's aware of and has been waiting for his inevitable mutation. Bartok reveals his plans to use Martin's body and telepod's potential for genetic manipulation for profit.
I knew it.
Like, yeah, what? I still don't really understand what his actual plan was with them.
Well, it was maybe to kind of get people who, almost like people do now with cosmetic surgery or something, you know, like kind of splice people and make them better and change parts on them. I don't know. Or build like some sort of super soldier. I have not got a clue, because I'm not really sure about what Bartok Industries' intentions are generally.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I mean.
It could be anything. Yeah, like what do they do? Like what is their... you know, like I know there's sort of science-based, but what are we talking about? Agriculture, weaponry, biological weaponry.
Well, they got enough security there.
Yeah.
You know, we're a science lab. We're a science lab. Okay, what do you do? Yeah, don't mind that, you know.
General science.
We like to mutate dogs.
Yeah. Oh man, let's not bring that up again. He's such a good boy. Even when he was mutated, he was a good boy as well.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say... Yeah, Bartok admits as well that all of those injections that he's been getting all of his lives, they were just placebos.
It's like that joke, isn't it? It's like, you laugh, but I have to be on these placebos my whole life. I have to take these placebos. He has to listen to placebo every day.
God. Martin's insect genes fully awaken, and in his transformation into a human fly hybrid begins, and he escapes from Bartok Industries. Bartok is unable to use the telepods as they are locked by a password. Martin also installed a computer virus which will erase the telepod's programming if the wrong password is entered.
Ooh.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess, you know, seeing this, that is kind of stepped up a little bit in the whole technology era. Because what year was the first one? Do you remember? Was it like 85, 6? Maybe earlier.
86, I think. Yeah, 86.
Okay,
so it was only a couple of
later.
years.
Yeah,
I think it was 86. So let's see, The Fly. So I can tell you that The Fly 2 came out in 1989.
Oh, really?
1986.
Okay,
so,
all right, so 3 years later.
3 years. And we're already talking about computer viruses.
Yeah.
I suppose it does make sense. I mean, like I say, I remember using BBC micros at school, but really we were just moving. There was a game called Granny's Garden where you had to move an apple from one side of the screen to So I was doing some pretty big things with technology myself at the time. So it totally makes sense that he can put a computer virus in.
Yeah. Yeah, I know we're not quite there yet, but just as he started kind of transforming now, I found it kind of odd how quickly and all of a sudden he started transforming. Because in the original one, it took 5 weeks, I think it was, for Seth to transform. But obviously this one, Martin was kind of born with it. But and he was fine until now, and this is like 5 years.
It's because he stopped taking his placebos.
Oh, was that what it was?
Gonna take your placebos like a good boy.
But
it would have made sense if the injections were slowing it down.
Yeah, I guess so. But I think they said it was
and then
just
when
water. I don't know. Yeah, I just thought
it would have made sense but it doesn't, does it?
No.
It doesn't. It just happens because
For
we need
5
to get to the end of the
years,
film.
5 years he's just been a normal, man child. But and then all of a sudden, the last couple of days, he's just drastically changed out of nowhere.
Because we're in the final act.
Yeah, I know.
That's it. That's the reason. Because of reasons. Because of film. Yeah, it's just a strange one, isn't it? It would have made sense if they were controlling the effect of his aging and things through medication. And those injections were all kind of doing different things to his intellect and his body, and that would have made loads of sense. So then to just say, oh, by the way, those injections did nothing.
Yeah.
and also he just suddenly, as the impact of everything, like you say, that has not bothered him for years, all of a sudden it's just come on like a ton of bricks. It's like puberty, I guess.
Yeah.
He just woke up one morning and he's just like, his voice is all going, what's happening?
I just thought they could have gradually spaced it out. Like age 1, he was just a very hairy child, and then age 2, he gets a wing or something.
Maybe because Beth wouldn't have been attracted to him if he was just super hairy and green and looking fat and slimy like Bernard Manning or whatever. Maybe that was what it was about. They couldn't have a relationship. At least with Seth, he has the moment where he's full of rippling muscles.
Yeah,
you can kind of see her going, oh, all right. In this one, it doesn't quite work like that.
No, he's very much not like that.
No,
he's kind of a weedy little man boy.
And then she still likes him, and they have a really nice relationship. But like I say, if maybe he'd just had loads of thick black hair all over his arms, neck, and face, it maybe would have been harder to have a romance. But she loves him despite all these things, as we find out later on. She still loves him.
Yeah. So Bartok orders a search for Martin. Martin goes to Beth and explains the situation, and the two flee. They visit Veronica's old confidant, Staphis Borans. He confirms for Martin that the telepods are his only chance for a cure. They keep running, but Martin's physical and emotional changes become too much for Beth to handle, and she eventually surrenders them both to Bartok. Martin becomes enveloped in a cocoon.
End of film.
I found a deleted scene that would have been in this bit here when they were on the run. So it's basically they stop off somewhere during the day, and Beth runs into a kind of fast foody type shop or a cafe type thing, and Martin waits in the back of the car. But while she's in there getting the food, there's a car that parks next to Martin, and it's full of kids in the car, and they're all making fun about the way he looks. And he just rolls down the window and just projectile vomit pukes all over the car. He just sprays the whole car in fly vomit.
It kills them all.
I don't think it kills them. I think he just pukes on the car. But Yeah.
That would have been insane if he just murdered about 12 kids or whatever.
A load of kids. Yeah.
You can see where they left that out.
But yeah, we get to see Stathis again.
Yeah. It might be the best part of the whole film for me, because he's just like, help me. No.
He is still an arsehole.
Yeah,
there is no change.
Reason to help, has he?
No.
He's like, if anything, it's more fun for him not to help.
Yeah. But you would have thought, like, with all the shit that he's seen with Seth's transformation and Veronica dying, it would have opened his eyes a little bit, and maybe he might have like reevaluated his life, maybe tried to redeem himself a little bit by helping out Martin. But I think the best he does is just give him the keys to his Jeep. Yeah,
it's funnier that he doesn't change. I think that he's just like, don't sit there. And, like, I won't help you. And why are you here? And I hated your dad. All these things that are like, he's like, you literally, this was the woman that I was obsessed with, and you know, he came along. And to be fair, I think she'd broken up with him years and years and years.
Yeah.
Not years and years, but broken up with her relatively recently. So, like, you can't really blame Seth for that, but he can't he? Because he's Stathis.
Yeah. I guess, the whole time you're watching, you're thinking, oh, this is years later, but it's only actually 5 years, isn't it?
Yeah. And plus, he's got a physical reminder every day of why he hates his dad. So,
oh, yeah, because he literally says as well, it actually cost me an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
I don't really understand the cycle of Martin. He was born in a cocoon, then he hatched into a human, he grew up, and now he's gone back into a cocoon again to hatch as a man-fly. I don't know.
Yeah, that's another one. It looks good. I bet when you have somebody who does special effects for most of their career and does amazing special effects, then I guess most of the decisions are based on when they're getting the next amazing special effect into the film.
Yeah. But Seth never went into a cocoon.
No. But then he wasn't born this, in the words of Lady Gaga, he wasn't born this way.
I guess. So what happens when a special effects man directs the film?
Yeah, it's just like, we just do stuff because it looks cool, which is fine.
Effects, we need more effects.
Yeah. Bring more goo, more slimy.
Bartok interrogates Beth for the password. Shortly after, the fully transformed Martin emerges from his cocoon and breaks into Base 17. Martin grabs Bartok, forces him to type in the password DAD. And,
3 letters.
Yeah. And drags Bartok and himself into a telepod. Martin gestures Beth to activate the gene swapping sequence, and she complies. Martin is restored to a fully human form, and Bartok is transformed into a deformed monstrosity. Inside the dog's former enclosure, the Bartok creature crawls towards the food bowl filled with slops and sees a single housefly sitting on the edge.
Revenge.
Justice
for Fluffy. I don't know what the dog was called, but yeah. Justice. What was the dog called?
I don't know. I don't think he had one, did it?
No, I probably didn't give it a name, but yeah, Justice. Finally. See how you like it.
That whole final scene, that was a lot. Like they got a lot into that last bit.
Yeah, that's why they had to rush through all the others. They could get to this, and it was just like, and they still managed to make the film an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah.
It felt quite rushed in places and really slow down. Like they had a massive love montage where they were like falling in love with each other to music, and then like making sweet passionate love to each other, and like a 80s John Hughes film. And they didn't necessarily. I don't know. I don't know about this film.
I really liked the look of the Martin fly. Like, it was very different to the Brundlefly, but it seemed to be... I mean, he seemed to be more active and smarter than the Brundlefly was. Like, he was, like, fully formed and he was running around. And then,
Oh yeah.
and he still pets that dog on the head.
Yeah, and when he jumps through the window as well, he does like almost like a superhero landing.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's like. So I quite like the ending where she cuts and gets all the goo off him. It's quite satisfying to kind of see cleaning him off and getting his skin maybe back to how it was. And it was kind of a bit weird, like, because obviously it looks like kind of like scar tissue, almost like cuts or like really bad, like angry eczema. Is like, but like it was quite satisfying to see him just appear. I don't know why that was.
Yeah.
But it was when he comes back, because obviously, and then she like still kisses him and things, even though he's pretty gross. So that's quite a nice, like, she's fallen in love with the person and she's happy to have him back. And all the people just stood there with the guns, all like, now what do we do? Like, what do we do? Just mow them all down? Just kill them both?
I was waiting for a vomit scene.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it didn't disappoint, did it? Like when he was face to face with that guy, and he just splooged all over that security guy's face, and it just melted off.
Really good. Yeah. That's Raiders of the Lost Ark face melting. It's the same.
Yeah,
thing,
very much. Yeah.
It was when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's what this guy does well. Like that's his thing. Yeah.
That was probably one of the best effects. That, and the bit shortly after where that elevator is coming down on that guy, and he kind of gets his head out and his head just kind of explodes underneath the elevator.
That's very Cronenberg. Yeah, that's more Cronenberg.
Yeah.
They should have just got rid of the whole story and just done a whole film of special effects.
Yeah.
It'd probably been more exciting, more interesting, rather than like just them two just prancing around and falling in love and going visiting Stathis and all that kind of stuff. Just cut all that out and just do scene after scene of insane special effects. Essentially Gremlins 2.
Yeah.
Just do Gremlins 2.
Yeah. So this one actually did the one thing that the first one didn't, and that's Brundlefly's plan to kind of cure himself by fusing himself with another person.
It works.
And for a moment, I thought it weren't going to happen in this one either, because they're all standing around with their guns. I thought, oh, someone's going to do something and it's all going to break and it's going to be the exact same ending as the first one, but it don't. It goes ahead and it actually worked. So I thought, that's a win.
It is. It's good. It's weird though. What are those people going to do now? Just sort of just turn around and walk off?
Yeah.
Like they're there brandishing their guns. They're just going to go, oh, okay, so just walk. Just walk out. They should have just stayed with them about another minute or so just to see what they did.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's their boss that's a big goopy mess on the floor. So what?
Just kind of shrug, put your gun away and leave.
Back to work, or I don't know.
It's like, whoa, what a weird day.
Yeah. Cool.
I'll just kill them. Just shoot like Martin and Beth. Just.
But no, they take their boss, the Bartok, and they put him in a pen just like that dog.
Yeah.
And they feed him slops.
They don't like him.
Yeah. Wow.
Said about his fair play.
Yeah. Okay, right. So let's go ahead and rate this film. So I've done a rating as 25-year-old 5-year-olds out of 10. So all right, I'll go and give my rating. Personally, I don't think this movie gets enough recognition it deserves. I thought it was actually pretty good. I feel people are quick to judge because how successful the first one was. I mean, the first one was such a fantastic movie, and it kind of took sci-fi horror to a new level. Naturally, sequels rarely tend to top the originals. And just because this one didn't hit home as the same way the first one didn't, doesn't mean that it's not a good movie overall. It kind of took everything that was good in the first one, in the original, and put its own little spin on it. Granted, there were a few moments that I wasn't keen on. The whole age thing really kind of messed with me a little bit. Being a 25-year-old 5-year-old was kind of weird, and and how quickly he all of a sudden started changing. But yeah, but that aside, I like the plot. The special effects were top. You know, they were amazing. The score was good, and even the acting was decent. You know, there wasn't really any bad actors. So with that, I'm going to give it a solid 7 25-year-old 5-year-olds out of 10.
Wow. 7?
Yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
You were very even-handed about it, though. I think, you know, I'd probably have more of an emotional response to it, I think. But, yeah, it's not a bad film by any stretch of the imagination. I defy anybody to do special effects as well as the director of this. I think he's an unsung hero of special effects and creative ideas. The thing that lacks for it in this, I think, is the story's a lot. Maybe not necessarily the story, because you have to do certain things, but there's not the tension doesn't work. The build up, the pacing is a little bit all over the place. For me though, the dog trauma really knocked me like sideways, really upset me. So I don't know. It's like, by the way, I quite liked it when Stathis said like about him that he bugged him. I thought that was quite funny that his dad bugged him. And he said he got a striking family resemblance. Stathis is probably my favourite character in this film, which in the first film he was my least favourite character. So it has loads of things to admire about the film. It's got possibly one of the best pedigrees in terms of writers and creative people. So it's a shame it's not like a 9 out of 10 film, really, for what it is. Maybe it's kind of saddled with having to fit certain things in from the first film and couldn't make its own kind of unique presence kind of thing. People don't necessarily have the same attachment to The Fly 2 as the first one. You don't hear people talk about it very much, but it's worth watching. It's got lots going for it. I'm going to give it 5 out of 10. No. 5.5. 5.5. 5-year-old, 25-year-olds, or whatever it was. 5.5, and it would have been 6 if it wasn't for the dog trauma.
Oh.
So I'm taking 0.5 off that poor good boy. So yeah, that's how I feel about it.
Less dogs and more Stathis, that's what you want.
That was it, yeah. We could have had more Stathis in that film.
Yeah.
Why not? Why not? He would have been great. He could have been there. I'm sure there's an alternative version of this that they probably wrote where Stathis was like really involved. But again, he would have to be hobbling around a lot, I guess. I don't know. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't know.
Okay, all right, that's cool. Right, I've got a little bit of trivia, so we'll go do that.
Trivia. Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, okay, so this bit was about Geena Davis. So Chris Wallace wanted Geena Davis to reprise her role as Veronica for the birth scene at the beginning of the film. But Geena Davis declined it because she found the maggot baby scene sequence in the original film emotionally upsetting. So yeah, she didn't want to do it. She opted out, and so that's why they replaced her with Saffron Henderson, despite her being like 10 years younger than Davis. But I think she pulled it off all right.
Yeah, well, that filled me. Well, it might not be difficult. Maybe I wasn't paying attention. Well,
I think the way they filmed it as well, it was a lot of up shots as well, so you don't really see her like face on.
I think we can get past that. I don't think it's a major. These things happen, don't they? Yeah. I mean, these days they'd be doing it with like deep fake technology, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
And it still look rubbish. Like, so yeah, why not?
Yeah. So what's the first videotape of Seth Brundle Jeff Goldblum, where he theorizes that the teleporter improved him. That actually is a part of a deleted scene from The Fly in '86. The scene was slightly edited for the film, as Geena Davis was dubbed over by Saffron Henderson.
Oh, okay. You think it'd been mainly screaming, so...
Yeah. The telepod props from The Fly, 1986, were destroyed after filming was complete. So it had to be completely rebuilt for this film.
Damn.
That's a bit of a waste, isn't it? Like they were such great iconic props. They would be worth so much money now.
I think the thing is that a lot of stuff like that happens all the time. Is you don't know what is going to become iconic, what is going. You know what I mean? It's like some things you store, some things you don't. And some things develop that sort of cult following years and years later, don't they? Or even develop some sort of like kitsch value in they weren't popular at the time. So it's strange, and I imagine depending on what studio you're with, in which case I don't know if Brooks Films isn't like depends what point of the production they were involved in, if they were helping with the funding or they're helping with the promotion afterwards, I don't know. But if they were all the way through, it's not like the Warner Brothers were. But I think this has got some... to be fair, ignore all that, because I think they did have some sort of big studio support as well, maybe Universal. So, I don't know. There's probably no reason for it. There's probably no reason for... They were just like, we won't need that again.
Yeah.
And also, he's one of those directors, Cronenberg, where he doesn't want to make sequels. So, it's pretty safe that they're not going to make another one. And then they just make one without him.
Last one. I feel like we get this on quite a lot, but in some US states, theatres playing The Fly 2 had nurses on hand for the audience's reactions to its content. Again,
like every film.
I feel like we get that quite a lot.
It's a good way of selling your film, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
People were saying that about Terrifier too.
Oh, really?
Literally seen that thing, like people were throwing up. Oh, it's terrible. Yeah, people. Is this? And then you see it like now. It's all like clickbait as well. It's like, is this the scariest movie of all time?
Yeah.
So I don't know. This is pretty gross, though. If you don't like. To be fair, I would need a nurse on standby if I was watching this at the cinema and I had to sit there and watch that dog on a massive screen.
Oh. Right. Yeah, that's all I've got for trivia. So, should we head into this week's game?
Sure.
Cool.
I want to play a game.
Alright, so taking it back to our first episode, I'm going to do the same game, and that was the Would You Rather. So... it is what it is. I'm going to ask you a load of things. Would you rather?
I can't remember it. That's why I said, I was like, I can't remember.
Oh, really?
No.
That's the only time we played that game, on the first episode of The Fly.
I can't remember what I did yesterday. So
so I'll take some horror scenarios and pin them against each other, and you got to tell me which one that you'd rather go with.
Okay.
So, would you rather go on a date with Kathy Bates from Misery or Salma Hayek from Dusk Till Dawn?
Okay, so I'm either going to get my ankles smashed to pieces by not aesthetically pleasing as a vampire who looks like Salma Hayek. So I'd be an idiot not to go with Salma Hayek.
Yeah.
I'm going with her. And that's a very predictable man thing to say, but
I would have done
plus
the same
other
thing.
She's not as scary. Like, she's only scary when she turns into a vampire.
Yeah, just don't show her any blood and you'll be fine.
Yeah, whereas, spoiler alert for Dusk Till Dawn. But if you like the first one, she's not nice at all. She's creepy through the whole film. Even when she's being nicey, she's still scary.
Would you rather babysit Reagan or Damien?
Oh man, depends on what. Well, Damien's Damien all the time. Reagan's a pretty nice kid until she's possessed. So I'm going for Reagan.
Reagan, okay.
Ronald Reagan, yeah.
Right. I probably know your answer for this one, but would you rather be Dracula, i.e. have your own castle, stay young, never die, blah, 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 or be the Invisible Man?
Ooh. Oh, well, you're only going to hear terrible things about yourself if you're an Invisible Man.
That's if they catch you.
True. or you might just become some sort of weird pervert. just wandering around, going into places you shouldn't go because you can. Yeah, I'm going for the vampire. I want to be a cool vampire. I want to be like a 1970s vampire, though.
That's what I thought you'd say.
Yeah, I want to be Johnny Alucard or something.
Would you rather have dinner with Hannibal Lecter or Patrick Bateman?
Hannibal Lecter, Patrick Bateman. Okay, so Patrick Bateman, I get to listen to some Huey Lewis in the news. He doesn't kill that many men, if I remember, because he's a horrible misogynist. And what was the first one? Hannibal Lecter will eat me.
He might.
He might. Or we might get on like a house on fire.
You'll make you a great dinner.
He might offer me some food that he's made of somebody else. I don't know. It's a tough one. I don't want to hang out with Patrick Bateman. He's just. I'll hang out with just because he's an arse. So I'll go with Hannibal Lecter. At least to play me some nice music, classical music, while he eats me.
I feel like you get a bit of a pampering with Hannibal.
Yeah, as he's like eating my brain while I'm still alive.
He'll treat you good. Would you rather be forever chased by Pennywise or forever chased by the creature from It Follows?
Probably It Follows, just because not a big fan of clowns. So
Okay.
yeah, I'm going for that. I'm going for that. Yeah, do you ever? It's been so long since I've seen It Follows. Do you actually ever see the creature?
Yeah. If it's after you can see it, but if you're other people, you can't.
Okay.
But it's always coming at you.
I'll still go. I'll go for that. Yeah. I fancy my chances with that more than I do Pennywise. Pennywise, it'd be too much hassle, dealing with all his tricks and ploys, and it'd just be long. It'd just be effort.
I feel like there's a way around with It Follows. I don't know, maybe like live up a tree or something. It can't get you up there. Well, I guess he can climb. I don't know.
Be sexually active.
Yeah. Okay, last one. Would you rather bring back George A. Romero or Wes Craven to direct one last film?
It would be George A. Romero, 100%.
Yeah?
He's my guy.
Okay.
Yeah. I like Scream. I like Nightmare on Elm Street. I like quite a few of Wes Craven's films. But for me, I've watched every single thing that George A. Romero's done and not all of them are brilliant. Certainly some of the later ones of the Dead are not very good. And I watched the amusement part that he made way back in the day, which is more of an... I don't know how to describe it. But I would love to see another George A. Romero film. I'd love to meet him. He just seemed like a great guy, brought all his friends along with him for the ride. Super creative. Even though I know most people would probably choose Wes Craven, I think. Would you? Would you choose Wes Craven?
Yeah, I probably would. I'm a big Wes Craven fan. I like zombie movies. I do like a lot of George A. Romero stuff, but I don't know. I think I have a closer connection with Wes Craven.
Yeah, I get that. I think for me, like, I don't know, Night of the Living Dead is probably like a 10 out of 10 film. And even George A. Romero fans probably think that Dawn of the Dead is probably his best film. So like I don't know. I just appreciate the guy for. Oh, and Martin as well is an incredible film. It's probably my favorite of all his films. Running Night of the Living Dead very close. So whereas with Wes Craven, I feel that I don't have the same emotional connection with his films that I had with George A. Romero. However, he did seem like a very nice chap. So sorry for not bringing him back to life.
Cool. Right. Well, that's everything for today. Just one last thing I want to wrap up on is the poll pick for this month, which obviously this month is sequel September, so that's going to be the same as the poll pick. The results are in. In third place was Insidious Chapter 2. Second place was Friday the 13th Part 2. And first place was Aliens. So that's what we'll be covering at the end of the month. Aliens. Which is good, because I just got the Blu-ray box set for that, so I'm happy.
I don't think I own Aliens at all, in any format whatsoever. Okay. These poll picks are costing me money.
It is on Disney Plus. I don't know if you've got that.
Oh, of course it is. That's how I watched Alien last time.
There we go.
Yeah. So what's the next one we're watching? Because we're still in sequel September, or we're just about to start sequel September, aren't we?
So for this month, so obviously it was The Fly 2, Hellraiser 2, and what was the other one?
Halloween 2?
Halloween 2, that was it, yeah. Halloween 2.
So that's next, yeah? Halloween 2?
Yeah. Oh,
wow. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
It's probably the one out of all of the films I have seen the least.
Probably same, actually. Well, actually, no, I've not even seen the third one. But from all the ones I've seen, yeah, probably the second one I haven't seen that much.
That's so weird, because the one I've seen the most is the third one. And the one I haven't seen all the way through is Rob Zombie's second one.
Oh yeah, but does that really count? No,
We're just counting the.
To be fair, I liked his first one. I liked his first Halloween.
I did.
I didn't like the second one. That was not needed.
I won't finish watching it then.
No. It gets weird. Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. Well, that's everything for this episode. Unless you've got anything you want to add on.
No, all good. That was awesome. Looking forward to Halloween 2.
Nice.
Spooky September.
Yeah.
Sequel September.
That's it.
All right, man.
Thank you. If you've liked today's episode, be sure to go and like us on Facebook. That's where we announce our next episodes, as well as each month doing a themed poll pick where you get to choose what you want us to watch. We like to hear from you, so please feel free to leave us a comment or send us a message, or you can even email us at allthingshorror666@gmail.com. That's all for today. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next one.
We all go a little mad sometimes.